Hey guys, today I've got my Sephora VIB sale recommendations for you in terms of skincare, hair care, body care, fragrance, all those sorts of things. And then tomorrow I'm going to make recommendations for makeup. I tried to do it all in one video. It was just too much. So we're doing that. And I think this is the first time I'm actually breaking up into two videos. So the Sephora, I think the official name is the Beauty Insider event. That starts on Friday for Rouge members. So it's a staggered start date depending on what tier you are. So Rouge starts on Friday. And then there's a later start date for VIB and then a later start date for Insider. And I will list all of that down below in my description box so you guys can reference that whenever you need to. I'll also have links to all the products that I'm talking about in my video down below in my description box. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started because I've got a lot of stuff. And we're gonna start with La Mer. So Rouge members get 20% off, and that is a wonderful, wonderful discount, especially when it comes to skincare, which tends to be a little bit more expensive. And La Mer definitely falls into that category. So I've been using La Mer products for over 20 years. I want to say at this point like 25 years. It really is one of those lines that I feel like all of the hype is totally worth it. I know this is a very like divisive topic when it comes to La Mer. I feel like you either love it or people are like, it's a total scam. I happen to be in the camp of people who actually love it. And I've been using the cream. I started using it because of my eczema. It was actually the only over-the-counter product that actually alleviated my eczema. So I fell in love with it from that moment forward. But I used to be a very intense smoker. I used to smoke 3 packs a day. Still miss smoking to this very day. Wish I could have a cigarette. But I used to be a heavy smoker and I used to be a total sun worshiper. And I feel like my skin would look a lot worse if it weren't for La Mer. So the cream, the OG, the moisturizing cream, I would highly, highly recommend this. You have to use it properly though. It's a very, very thick texture. You only need a little bit of it. A little bit goes a long way. And what you want to do is like warm it up between your hands. And you want to do it until the white cream basically turns translucent, and then you just want to press it into your skin. But you want to do that, otherwise it's just too like thick. You're not going to be able to spread it around. You're not gonna, basically get the ingredients to do their magic if you don't warm them up. So you definitely want to do that, and you definitely want to wait until it turns translucent and then go ahead and press it into your skin. So I highly recommend the moisturizing cream. I also love the moisturizing soft lotion. This is a much thinner texture. This comes in a pump as opposed to a jar. And I really like this if I just feel like, my skin's actually feeling okay. It doesn't feel its normal, very dry, desiccated self. And I'm feeling kind of strong, I will go in with the moisturizing soft lotion. Generally, this is what I'll use like when the summer time rolls around, when the weather gets a little bit warmer, and my skin isn't quite as dry. So I definitely wanted to mention this now that we're going into the spring, summer, the warmer months, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. And I also really like the fact that this comes with a pump. So it just, I don't know, it's a little bit more sanitary, I guess, if you're not a fan of a jar. I think the moisturizing soft lotion is really, really good. It's very effective and it comes in a pump. So wanted to mention that. And then next, I wanted to mention the tonic. Now, this is a toner. You're probably like, why would I need a La Mer toner, Michelle? Well, let me tell you, I love this toner because it just balances out my skin no matter what I used before. It's kind of magic. It's kind of like it knows what my skin needs. So let's say I'm trying out a cleanser and the cleanser dries my skin out, kind of gives it that tight feeling, one that I don't really like because I have very dry skin. If I go in with this toner afterwards, all of a sudden my skin will feel moisturized, it'll feel refreshed, it'll feel balanced, but it won't feel oily or anything. It doesn't have any of those properties. It just kind of gives it a little bit of moisture. Now, if I use a cleanser, let's say, that's kind of oil-based and I feel like it left kind of a film behind and I don't like that, my skin doesn't feel really clean, I'll go in with the tonic and it'll clean that off. So it'll actually kind of remove a little bit of the oil and balance my skin out in that way. It is the great skin balancer. I just love, love, love the tonic. And it's one of those products that I travel with. It is integral to my skincare routine. It is one of my favorite products from La Mer. So that is another one I wanted to mention. The other one that you'll see me use quite a bit with the cream especially is the Renewal Oil. So when I first got the Renewal Oil, I wasn't actually a fan of it because it's on, you can see, It's on the thinner side, and because I have dry skin, I always wanted like a really thick, rich kind of oil, one of those that's just like kind of clings and you really have to press it into your skin and work it in. And so when I tried this, I was like, oh, this seems kind of flimsy in a way. But it is actually a genius addition to the line, because if you're using something like the cream, even if you're using something like the moisturizing soft lotion, you don't want something that's going to interfere with that. And so when I use this oil beforehand, it's an oil, so it doesn't feel like it's totally absorbed and it's gone immediately, but it's lightweight enough that when I add this on top, it's not too much. It's not like I've just thrown all of this stuff onto my face and like it's not doing anything, it's just sitting on top. It's a really great addition to the cream if you feel like you need a little bit of like an extra hydration boost. It's wonderful. So I really love this oil, especially as a pairing to the cream or any of the creams, the moisturizing soft cream, which they actually just reformulated. I haven't tried it yet. I'm kind of dying to. Or even the moisturizing soft lotion. And then last but not least, in terms of La Mer skincare, is the treatment lotion. So this is a product actually from La Mer that's been around for a while, but I just started using it, and it's really great after toner. So after I use the tonic, I will throw this on, and it is a really, really like strong hydration boost. So this is definitely something I like using when the weather changes. That tends to be when my skin gets very, very dry. It like doesn't know what's going on. It's like, do I sweat? Am I oily? Am I dry? And it just sort of dries out. And this has also been great during the winter time when my skin typically is very dry. But I'm anticipating a lot of air conditioning, of course, in the summertime, and my skin also just acts up and gets really dry and very fussy in the summertime, and this is going to be wonderful. But this has been great over the winter time, so I'm anticipating it's going to be great over the summertime. So that's the treatment lotion. Those are all of the La Mer skincare products that I wanted to recommend. I could go on and on, but I'm going to stop there. Another skincare line where I had a few things to mention, so I thought I would just clump them all together, is Tatcha. And I wanted to recommend the Indigo Overnight Repair. This is like a serum and cream, and this is such an like unique and interesting product. Let me see if you can even see that. But it's a serum. It's like considered a serum. At least Tatcha considers it a serum. But it's not a typical texture of serum. It's really a very cushiony, pudding-like kind of cream texture. So it just makes my skin really, really soft. I almost treat it like a mask now that I think about it. It's like when my skin is feeling, let's say, particularly fussy, or I've been using my La Mer products, you know, for like weeks on end or whatever, and I just kind of want to change it up, and I feel like, oh, I just want to kind of like baby my skin a little bit. I will put like a really nice kind of layer of this on my skin, and I wake up with the softest skin ever. So that's the Indigo Overnight Repair. I've also been loving their Silk Serum. So this is a serum that I find really kind of like smooths out my skin. It makes my fine lines kind of plump, and it gives my skin like a really beautiful kind of like sheen to it. So I've really been enjoying this. It has a really nice lightweight texture. Again, it's considered a serum, but you can see it almost has like a lotiony texture. I mean, it's like a thin, we'll call it a thin lotion texture, but it really is really lovely. I mean, it just absorbs really quickly. And again, I feel like it just, just like really smooths out my skin. So that's the Silk Serum from Tatcha. And then I've been loving this Hinoki body wash. You can see I'm almost done with it. I'll probably re-up during this sale. The one complaint that I have about this body wash, and if you guys have this and use this, let me know if I'm the only one. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I can't imagine what that would be though, is when I try and squeeze out the body wash from this and just squeeze it out, I don't have like enough like force, and I thought maybe my thing is clogged. It's not. So I just, in the shower, I just untwist it and then, oh gross. I just untwist it and squeeze it straight from the tube without this top. So am I the only one? Let me know what you guys, if you have been using this, let me know what you do, but I kind of don't bother with this cap. I just squeeze it straight out of the tube. So those are the Tatcha products I wanted to mention. I would mention the Indigo Body Butter. However, for some strange reason, Sephora does not carry the indigo body butter. Why is that? I think we should start a petition. Speaking of body creams, let's jump over to Augustinus Bader. The body cream from Augustinus Bader is one of my favorites. And I'm going to, wow, really close that one tight. I am going to show you, oh, this is a new one. Oh, I brought down my backup. That's so weird. Okay, well, I am in the midst of using this body cream, and it's a lot emptier than this appears. Anyway, so this, can you see how thick this body cream is? It literally is like spackle. So my facial skin is very, very dry. My body skin is even drier. So I really, really appreciate a very moisturizing body cream. This is one of those body creams. You don't need a lot of it. It's like I always scoop out a little bit with like the back of my thumbnail, and I warm it up in my hands, and then I spread it on my legs because that's how thick it is. I feel like I work at Dairy Queen and you guys just ordered a, not a Frosty? Is it a Frosty? No, that's Wendy's. Blizzard. A Dairy Queen Blizzard. You know, like you get your money back if they don't do this, you know, and the spoon is in there and it's supposed to be so thick that it doesn't come out. Anyway, I feel like I work at Dairy Queen. Anyway, I think you get my point. It is a lovely body cream, very, very thick. If you have very dry body skin like me, I would try out the body cream. And the other thing I wanted to mention is their Rich Cream. This is a really, really amazing face moisturizer. I have been a fan of this ever since they reformulated it. I remember I tried this when it first came out. I don't know, when did Augustinus Bader like hit? It was before I moved to Vegas, so a long time ago. Anyway, they reformulated it and I was so pleasantly surprised. It has a really nice, almost like slick, kind of gooey texture. I think it has squalane in there, so it has that kind of texture to it. It's just really beautiful. And if you don't like the La Mer, because the La Mer is a moisturizer that is, it's almost like a substitute for your barriers. So this is like a product you want to use last. It just kind of seals everything in and it's not going to absorb into your skin very quickly. This is more of like a typical kind of moisturizer where you put it on, it kind of absorbs. It's more viscous than the La Mer cream. It comes in a pump, so it's just a little bit easier to use. So if you feel like this is just a little too much, I think you would really like the Augustinus Bader, especially if you have dry skin. So those are my recommendations for Augustinus Bader. Another brand I have a few picks for is Jo Malone, of course. I had a whole bunch of fragrance recommendations, and I reminded myself that we're going into the spring summer, so that kind of knocked out a lot. Like I was going to mention the Tom Ford Tuscan Leather and the Tobacco Vanille, but those, at least for me, those are ones that I like to keep for like fall, winter. So Jo Malone has a ton of spring, summer fragrances that I like, but I narrowed it down to Grapefruit, which is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. This is the only fragrance I wore for probably 15 years. This was the fragrance my husband always got me for any occasion. If he didn't know what else to buy me, he would buy me a bottle of grapefruit cologne. It's just so fresh. It's slightly sweet. It's so clean smelling. I love it. I love it. So grapefruit cologne. And then one that's on the newer side, but I've been really enjoying, is the Bitter Mandarin. I thought this was possibly limited edition when I purchased it, but I checked the site, the Sephora site, and it's still there. Thank goodness. So this is, you know, I would describe it the same way as grapefruit, but it's different. I mean, it smells a little like juicier, I guess I would say. They're so similar. Sorry, I'm like tripping over my words because they're so similar. I really would describe them the same way, but they are different enough. I feel like the grapefruit is just a tiny bit cleaner, a tiny bit crisper than the Bitter Mandarin. There, that would be the difference for me. So those two I love. And then, as you guys know, I'm kind of a candle fanatic and I like changing out my candles depending on my mood and the holidays or the season, et cetera, et cetera. And so one of my favorite scents for the spring, summertime is the Jo Malone Lime Basil and Mandarin. And I like this fragrance as an actual fragrance, you know, to wear, but there's something, I don't know, there's something it's so clean. The lime is so strong that I find it really beautiful as a home fragrance. So I like it as like a candle or a diffuser, just a little bit more than on me. Oh, I just love this. I'm almost done with this, guys, so I definitely need to get another one of these. I feel like I should stop messing around with this size and get one of those like 3-wick ones, like the really giant ones, but I'm not sure that Sephora carries that size. Anyway, love this for the spring, summertime. Highly recommend. Okay, speaking of fragrances, let's talk about Tom Ford. So like I was just saying, a lot of the Tom Ford fragrances that I really enjoy, I consider for like fall, winter, but there are two that I do really enjoy. This one is actually brand spanking new. You guys just saw me haul this one. This is the Soleil de Feu. I think a bunch of you commented trying to help me out on how to pronounce this. I think it's de Feu. And this is a pretty warm kind of summer fragrance, but it's warm in a summery kind of way, not warm in like a fireplace smoking jacket kind of way. It has like a little bit of coconut in there. I think it's my favorite Tom Ford Soleil fragrance because I'm not the biggest fan. I have another one to mention, but it's a little bit different. Anyway, I'm really liking this. As you guys know, I just picked it up about like a week ago, but I've worn it a couple days and I really like it. By the end of the day, when I have worn this, that coconut has pretty much dissipated. Any sort of sweetness has kind of dissipated. You're really left with like the heavier kind of musky scent. So it does end up smelling a little bbit more masculine, if you will, by the end of the day, but it's really unique. And it's very summery, and yeah, I really like this one.
Is how it's said. So it's the typical French E sound. It's rather short. Feu is il y a un feu, meaning
Feu. It feels like I'm not finished saying a word. Like it just stopped. Anyway, Soleil de Feu. And then I've recommended this many times before, but this is the Soleil Neige, but the shimmery bonding oil. So the Soleil Neige, the fragrance, it's fine, it's okay, but for some reason I really like it, or I like it more in the shimmering body oil. It just, I don't know, smells a little bit sexier, I feel like, in the body oil. It's very similar to the actual fragrance, but there's just something I like about this one a little bit more. And it's spring, summertime, and as you guys know, I don't usually use products like this, but I will with the warmer weather. So this is coming back out. And that's all I have for Tom Ford. All right, I also have some SPFs that I wanted to recommend. The first one is the Supergoop Play SPF 50. Yes, I have this giant, I feel like it looks like lawn fertilizer, but I have this giant bottle. I just keep it downstairs. I squirt some out when I'm gonna go walk butters, or if I'm just gonna go sit outside for a little while, I'll just like a couple squirts, just put it all over my face. It has a great texture. I love that it's SPF 50. It doesn't have like a weird scent. Yeah, it just goes on like lotion. So a really great SPF 50, and it's chemical sunscreen. Yeah, chemical sunscreen. The other one I wanted to mention is from the Inkey List. So this has polyglutamic acid, which is really great. I think it's very supportive of your skin barrier, which I have problems with because I have eczema prone skin. It's a great makeup primer as well. It's SPF 30, and there is chemical sunscreen in here. But I wanted to show you the texture of this. It is so thick. So if you have dry skin and you really like creamy textures, this is really gonna blow your skirt up. It's a really nice kind of thick texture, not thick like it's hard to spread or feel like it's just kind of sitting on top of your skin. It just really feels like a nice cream. I do wish it had a little bit higher SPF. SPF 30 I think is, it's okay. I think if you're gonna be in and out of your car or just walking, in the parking lot or whatever. But here in Vegas, I feel like 50 is the way to go because the sun is so strong. But if SPF 30 is fine by you, I think you'll really like this sunscreen. God, the texture is just wonderful. And then the sunscreen that I have completely fallen in love with, and I have heard that they can barely keep this in stock, so this is probably gonna go pretty quickly during the sale. But this is the Shiseido Urban Environment Sun Dual Care Fresh Moisture Hyaluronic Acid, and it's an SPF 42, and it has chemical sunscreen as well. This really feels like skincare. This really takes the place. If I don't feel like I want to just layer on too much, I will just put this on instead of moisturizer, and it is glorious. It is so beautiful. The texture is so silky smooth. It's not as thick as the Inkey List. but it's so silky smooth, and it has just the slightest fragrance. It doesn't smell like sunscreen though, it smells like skincare. Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, another really beautiful. I'm just piling the skincare up on this one hand. But it's really beautiful. The texture is really, really great, especially for my dry skin. The hyaluronic acid is very helpful, especially in the summer months. So those are the SPFs that I wanted to mention. And then I have a one-off skincare product that I really, really love, and that is the Dr. Barbara Sturm Hyaluronic Serum. I finished 2 full bottles, and then I forgot where this came from, but I ended up with this like deluxe sample size, or this travel size of it, and I'm pretty much done with this sample now. This is just a wonderful, wonderful hyaluronic serum. If you just want like a little bit of moisture add to your skin, if you're feeling like your skin is just, not just dry, but kind of like parched, this is just a wonderful serum. This is by far one of the most effective hyaluronic serums I've ever tried. I can really, really see and feel the difference in my skin immediately. I'll put this on at night, I'll wake up in the morning and be like, oh my gosh, my skin just feels like refreshed and moisturized, and like it just had like a drink of water. So this is probably my favorite product from Dr. Barbara Sturm. Not that I've tried everything, but I've tried a lot of her stuff, and this is, I think, a standout product from her line. Oh, this was hiding in the bag. Okay, one last product. This is Guerlain's Aqua Allegoria Peregrinita, and I would say anything from the Aqua Allegoria line, if the notes sort of speak to you, I would give it a shot, because come spring, summer, these are like such appropriate fragrances. They're really light, they're really fresh. This one is slightly sweet, and you obviously have to like pear, but it's so subtle. It doesn't smell like a pear tart or something. And then some sweet florals come in. It's just a really kind of pretty fragrance. And again, just super light. Whenever I think of these Aqua Allegoria fragrances from Guerlain, I always think of like going out to brunch. Like it's that kind of vibe. It's a daytime kind of fragrance. It's maybe sitting outside at a sidewalk cafe, like something like that. So I wanted to mention this again because we're going into spring, summer. And that is it. So definitely check down below in my description box for links to all of these products if you're interested. Rouge members can start shopping on Friday. I will have my makeup recommendations video live for you guys tomorrow. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.